Keeping secrets was impossible in a place like this. The servants lived far too closely together in their dirty, dusty, draughty quarters. It was only natural the other maids would know. Everybody had heard the rumors about Hartwell and Lorena's sudden dismissal and Arthur Pickering. But Lorena didn't like to think about that. Not now. In fact, she was rather shocked to discover she would much rather think about Taua. Because the guy was probably gross and probably tried to make moves on her. And they were like, oh no, that maid was doing bad things. We gotta kick her out. Even though it was probably the guy's fault. I'm calling this now. A few days later, Lorena found... actually, wait. No, actually, I'll keep going. It's fine. I'll go till midnight. It's fine. A few days later, Lorena found herself in the kitchen. She was in the midst of cleaning out a large tin pot for the cook beneath a stream of steady water. The Lady Leonard employed a couple of scullery maids to aid the cook with her chores. They were often indisposed with miscellaneous tasks. The scullery maids didn't sleep with the housemaids beneath the attic. They had even smaller, shabbier quarters that were closer to the kitchens. Lorena didn't know the scullery maids very well. She couldn't remember their names. There was one girl with thin brown hair who might have been a Bessie, or perhaps the wiry, red-haired girl was Eliza? But Lorena didn't know. Technically speaking, Lorena wasn't supposed to work in the kitchens. She wasn't a scullery maid, but a housemaid, a rank or two below Taua on the social hierarchy. Though Lorena could sweep carpets, polish stairwells, and light almost any fireplace, scouring pots and pans was not her forte. Unfortunately, the cook had asked for Lorena's assistance by name, and Lorena couldn't disobey a direct order from the cook. The cook was an irritable, moon-faced woman, but she was one of the most senior staff members Bly possessed, other than Mr. Lester and Miss Smith. Lorena washed the pot dutifully, soaping it clockwise with a flannel. Her hands were starting to tire, and she had no idea how long she'd been working, but it certainly felt like long enough. Her hair was gaying her eyes, but she couldn't pause to brush the loose tendrils behind her ears. She'd just done that before and had learned the hard way that introducing carbolic soap to her unprotected eyeballs was the rather poor idea. As Lorena worked, soap suds scudding along about her, she happened to look out of the window. The sky was a clear, bright blue, and the rose gardens lay beyond the kitchen. The young maid could make out, not so very far away, two familiar figures, Effie and Lieselotte. Lorena wasn't sure why they were in the garden. It wasn't Monday, and there was no laundry to be done. The voices of the two girls drifted to Lorena on the spring breeze. When she strained her ears, Lorena was able to catch most of their conversation. The daffodils are so beautiful. I could be back in Andermatt. You always say that. I know. I fear I'm dreadfully simple-minded. I cannot help myself. I do love my hometown so. How cute. Is this a ship? You really think so? Oh, thank goodness. Sometimes I worry I must annoy you all so much with my ramblings. You don't. Well, thank you. Though I do wonder. It is such a beautiful day, and yet I can hardly believe amongst these old walls there lurks an ancient specter. Just thinking about it makes me tremble. What if it were to possess me in the night? How would that feel? Like this. Effie caught hold of Lieselotte's middle and began... What? What? Oh, okay. I kept reading. I was... I'm not even going to explain. Effie caught hold of Lieselotte's middle and began to assault her with her fingers. Her digits scrabbled at Lieselotte's tummy, beneath her neck, and underneath her arms. The blonde maid soon doubled up, squealing. Yeah! Let go! But I'm possessing you. Effie! I did not know English girls were so touchy. We aren't. Not usually. You're special. I ship this now! I ship this! So hard. Lorena looked at the cook curiously. Do you know what they're doing outside? The cook set down her rolling pin. She had been in the middle of preparing Lady Constance's mid-morning snack and gave Lorena a withering look. Why are you asking me that? No real reason. I just thought, as they're right outside the kitchens, you might have sent them on some kind of errand. And what if I have? Well, haven't you been here long enough to know you shouldn't bother me when I'm working? Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting you. As you should be. The cook harumphed, her large bosom heaving. She wasn't a particularly old woman, in her 30s, Lorena assumed, but her bosom was impressively large, and it was already starting to sag. Oh my goodness, I didn't need to know this. Sometimes Lorena wondered if her breasts were the real reason why the cook always looked so po-faced. Dragging them around with her must have been incredibly tiresome. What is this game now, right now? I don't understand. Maybe that was why the cook often asked the housemates for help, though they weren't supposed to work in the kitchens. Her breast had damaged her back, and despite her relative youth, she had difficulty keeping the kitchen in order on her own. Lorena hoped her own breasts wouldn't weigh on her like that. They hurt her back quite enough as it was already. In 20 years' time, or even 10, would her spine still be able to withstand the pressure? If you must know, I asked those daft girls to pick some blackberries for me. Blackberries? That's right. You mightn't know, seeing as you've not been here a whole year, but there's a thicket near the back of the garden. I always make blackberry jam during the springtime, and blackberry pies, blackberry tarts, blackberry you name it. Lady Constance is fond of blackberries. Oh, I see. It made sense. Blackberries, though sweet, had an initial tartness when you first bite into them. Their prickly, off-putting palate suited Lady Constance... my goodness, I can't read. Their prickly, off-putting palate suited Lady Constance perfectly. They're supposed to be picking blackberries at any rate, but it seems they've gotten distracted. I suppose so. Lorena frowned. She felt a bit guilty for tallying on Effie and Lieselotte, whom she liked quite a lot, but she didn't suppose the cook would be too hard on them. For all her buster, she was a good woman at heart, and she seemed to regard Lieselotte as a surrogate daughter. Oh! The cook was forever summoning Lieselotte to the kitchens and giving her easy jobs. Oi! The cook yelled quite suddenly, making Lorena jump. She was so loud, the pots and pans in the kitchen quacked. Quaked? Quaked. I'm gonna go with quaked. The two young scullery maids, Bessie and Eliza, were those their names? Tensed. You two, you're not getting paid to stand around yakking. As if by magic, the two maids in the rose garden parted. Though they were a few paces away, Lorena could see the abashed smile on Lieselotte's face quite plainly. I'm sorry, I'll start right away. You do that, Lottie, or I'll tell Lady Leonard. Oh no, I don't want that. Let us go, Effie. And Lieselotte took hold of Effie's hand. I ship them so hard. Lorena watched the two of them, her head tilted to one side. She was more curious than ever. Had Lieselotte and Effie always been that close? Ship, 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 ship. Later that day. Oh, maid, there you are. You know, I do have a name. What was that? Nothing. Lady Constance sighed and set down her slim volume of French fables. It appeared to be the same volume she had been poring over a few days prior. It really was curious, Lorena mused, that whenever Lady Constance was assailed with a sudden urge for sugar during her studies, it was invariably when she was supposed to be studying French. And what mid-morning snack do you have for me today? Biscuits, miss. I hope for your sake. They're nicer than the coconut macaroons. The macaroons that Lady Constance did not even try. I can't say for sure. I haven't sampled them myself. Naturally. That would be most uncouth. I thought you might say that. The cook told me they had a fancy foreign name, but... Lorena looked at the plate in her hands. It was a delicate willow-patterned piece, quite unlike the chipped ceramics the maids ate from. The plate alone was probably worth more than a month of Lorena's meager salary. On the plate, arranged by the cook's careful hands, were a handful of cibles à la poche, buttered-based French biscuits with centers of strawberry jam. Lorena didn't know the correct terminology for these sweet treats, and neither would she have been able to pronounce it if she did, so she handled the situation as best she could. She bowed her head in apology. I can't quite seem to remember it. As expected, you really are useless, Lady Constance tutted. Well, at least let me see the mystery biscuits. I'll decide for myself what I think. Of course. Lorena obliged, setting the plate on the table. Lady Constance pinched one of the biscuits between her thumb and forefinger and bit into it delicately. She didn't spill a single crumb. Lorena couldn't help but be impressed. Though she didn't like Lady Constance, she had to give praise where praise was due. Lady Constance, despite her 12 years of age, really was elegant. Far more elegant than Lorena. Lady Constance chewed for a while, letting the sweetness of the biscuit dissolve across her tongue, before she swallowed. Her delicate throat, pale as a swan's hide, convulsed. I suppose they are satisfactory. Thank goodness for that. If you're pleased with your snack, then I shall leave these here. If you need anything else, please give me a call. I will be in the kitchen. Lorena dropped a neat curtsy, first to Lady Constance, and then to Miss Amy. She was already crossing the carpet, her shoes falling against the floorboards with a series of dull thuds, when... Oh, but these are sablés à la bouche. C'est magnifique. Miss Amy's voice made Lorena halt. Lorena sucked in a breath. Slowly, very slowly, she turned about. Lady Constance was frozen in place, a biscuit pinched between her thumb and forefinger. She had been in the process of bringing it to her lips, but Miss Amy's exclamation had stopped her. Oh, she's gonna hate it now, because it's French. The girl's eyes flashed dangerously. What was that, Amy? Oh, I was merely saying that these delightful biscuits are French. Is that so? Yes, they come from Sables to South, but they are popular all around the country. I used to eat them when I was a young girl. Miss Amy laughed softly, tucking a strand of loose hair behind the shell of her ear. Her bright, bright red hair. It contrasted something fierce against her creamy skin. It made Miss Amy look even whiter than she truly was. In fact, these biscuits might be even more French than I am. And what makes you say that? You know how it is, Mademoiselle Constance. I've worked for 3 years in Palermo. Did I not tell you? Oh, yes, you did. Did you forget? I didn't forget. I simply didn't care to remember. Mademoiselle, you have such a wicked tongue on you. You should be careful, or it will turn black. Lillian used to tell me that too. Then you should have listened to her. If I had listened to her, there would have been no reason for Mother to fire her. Are you stupid? Well, Miss Amy's pale cheeks flushed. 2 twin apples blossomed beneath the surface of her skin. Once upon a time, Miss Amy's skin had been a healthy bronze hue. After being subjected to the dreary, rainy, drizzly English weather for more than 4 months, however, her skin had lost much of its shine. Or maybe it wasn't the weather. Maybe it was Lady Constance. All of a sudden, I've rather lost my appetite. Lady Constance turned her nose up at the plate of biscuits, her hands planted on her hips. Yeah, I know. I was gonna go until midnight, Jack. If you like them so much, Amy, you may have them, but I won't touch a single crumb. Oh, Mademoiselle, why must you be so difficult? These biscuits are truly delicious, I promise, I swear, as a genuine Frenchwoman. And in case you hadn't realized, I am sick and tired of French. But I'm not a French child, I'm an English one. There's no reason for me to study your language or eat your food, or even converse with your people. Excuse me. My people, Mademoiselle? Yes, your people. You're not like me, and I'm not like you, and I don't like you and your silly, simpering ways. You try to get on my good side, telling me stories about your childhood, like you and I are the same. But we are not the same. We are not friends. Lillian might have been a stick in the mud, but at least she had a basic understanding of social etiquette. She never once overstepped her boundaries. Even the stupid maid would be preferable company to you. Mademoiselle, Enough! Lady Constance got to her feet. The legs of her chair scraped across the floor. The sound was grating. It made Lorena wince. I'm tired. I'm going to retire to my bedroom. But your lessons are over. They are not over until I say they are over. Oh, so now you wish to be a responsible adult, do you? Well, it's rather too late for that. Mademoiselle! I am not a mademoiselle. I am an English lady. Until you start addressing me by my correct title, I refuse to sit down and go through a single French verb with you ever again. But what should I say to your mother? Tell her that you're incompetent and I want nothing to do with you. That should settle matters. So saying, the young girl So saying, the young girl exited the drawing room. The door slammed shut behind her. Dust motes swirled around in the air, unsettled by Lady Constance's performance. Lorena could see them if she squinted, barely visible in the golden sunlight that streamed through the open window. The velveteen curtains fluttered in the breeze. Miss Amy, meanwhile, groaned. She ran a hand through her rose-red hair. Please, she deserves a good beating. Beat her up, please. Oh, goodness. What am I to do with her? She sniffled. It sounded, for a few moments, that she was on the verge of tears. But, upon remembering Lorena, Miss Amy sniffed and the moment passed. I apologize. I did not mean to drag you into such an unpleasant situation. Oh, it's quite all right. It was probably my fault. I'm not sure how, but according to Lady Constance, most things are my fault, so... Oh, dear. A wan smile tugged at the corners of Miss Amy's lips. It wasn't much of a smile, but it was something. I do worry about Mademoiselle. She can be docile at times, but she flies into a rage at the smallest of provocations. And always, she seems to be scheming. You haven't had the pleasure of meeting any other little girls like her? Oh, goodness gracious, no. None of my students in Palermo gave me so much trouble, and Italians are supposed to be passionate. Passionate is one word for it. Oh, Mademoiselle. Miss Amy shook her head. It would be easy to dislike her, but I do pity the poor creature. You pity her? Why? I can't say for sure, but I've always had the idea that she can't be a very happy child. If she was happy, she wouldn't be so difficult. You might have a point. You, on the other hand, are a very sweet girl indeed. I wonder why Mademoiselle always singles you out. Maybe it's because I'm the newest maid here. I try not to think about it too much, but... Lorena picked up the plate of French biscuits that had caused so much chaos. It seems like such a waste. Indeed, they're good biscuits. French biscuits are always are. It's a shame Lady Constance is too pig-headed to admit to it. In the end, it's her loss. You know, a mischievous smile that somehow seemed quintessentially European tugged at the corners of Miss Amy's lips. Those biscuits would have to be thrown away otherwise, so you might as well help yourself. Oh no, I couldn't. But you can, I insist. It wouldn't be proper. I'm just a maid, and I am inviting you to eat. As you said, it would be a horrible waste, and so I want to share my country with somebody who cares about it. Well, if you're so sure. Miss Amy didn't need to coerce Lorena any further. After a quick, furtive glance behind her shoulder, the young maid finally decided to help herself. The biscuits were like nothing she had tasted before. They all but melted across her tongue, soft and sweet and so very, very delicious. I want to keep going, but I don't know how long this next scene will be, and I've only got 5 minutes till midnight anyway. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use this time. Whoops. Whoops. Well, I forgot to read something. That's okay. Unless... I can go back. Oh, snap. Oh, that's nice. Okay. I'm going to save right there before I make any other mistakes. Yes. I love how fancy the fade lines are in transitions between that kind of thing.